Hey guys, welcome back to My Way with the Morleys. I'm Andy, and in this video we're going to be talking about French campsites and taking a summer holiday in France. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. We're trying to put uploads up weekly of our trips away, tips and tricks, of cooking videos and all stuff outdoors. So if that's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button and get notified whenever we upload. You can always come back to our channel on a Thursday and hopefully there'll be a new upload for you. On to this week's video. So we decided we wanted to make a video about camping or caravanning in France and in general what going to France, what a French holiday entails, based off a conversation we had off Twitter. Now, this was as a result of a message we had from Gilly Green. I'll read it, I'll try and put it on the screen here so you can see what it was. But it said, first year planning French summer holiday and no idea where to go. Tina Dan was on my long short list. You been before. Now, this is by no means a guide to say this is what you should and shouldn't do, because everybody's preferences will be different. And one of the first things you need to ask yourself is what sort of holiday you want, because that will determine, probably if it's your first time going to France, where you may want to go. Now, for us, it's quite important that we don't have to travel too far in France. We've always been in the summer holidays, and classically in the school 6 weeks holidays. We've been at the start of the holiday, at the end of the holiday, midway through the holiday, and each will have a different flavour to the campsite. The very first year that Kate and I went to France, we went in the last week of August. Now, in that time, a lot of the French kids, the Dutch kids, the German kids will be back at school, so the campsites were quite quiet. And in fact, the first campsite we went to, just the three of us, we went for August bank holiday weekend, and there was virtually nobody there. It was actually the last week before the campsite was due to close, and I think some of the campsites do close from the first week of September just because there is no demand. Now, where to go really depends on which crossing you're going to do. There's numerous crossings obviously that you can get over to France. Now again, the crossing really depends on where you live. Now for us in the Midlands, we've crossed from Portsmouth. We've also done the tunnel when we went to the Alps. For us, with the three kids, all fairly young, we really want to make sure that the travel the other side isn't too long. Generally speaking, the crossings from Portsmouth, you can travel from this area of the country after work. You don't have to leave too early. You can get a crossing at sort of 10:30, 11 o'clock time, and that works really well because you don't need to have a day off work. You can travel after work, get down there for a reasonable time, get an overnight crossing, and that will get you into France for sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, which is absolutely perfect if you want to go to either Brittany or to the Vendée region. Now, if you're going from Portsmouth, you can cross to Caen or to Saint-Malo. Typically speaking, the crossings to Caen is cheaper than Saint-Malo. I don't know why that is. The difference between the two, if you're going to sort of the Vendée or to Brittany, it's going to knock about an hour off your journey time. Now that's a time without towing a caravan. But roughly speaking, the difference between Saint-Malo and Caen adds about an hour if you weren't towing, so it's obviously going to add a little bit more if you are towing. This year we're taking the crossing from Plymouth to Roscoff. We've never done that before. We'd sort of always discounted the ferry from Plymouth because it always seemed a much longer journey than Portsmouth is from our neck of the woods. Realistically, that only adds 40 more miles. I think the distance from home to Portsmouth is about 160 sort of ish miles. The difference from home to Plymouth for us is about 200. So 40 miles is not a massive difference. However, the difference it makes on the other side is massive. The travel time from Caen to La Tina Dan in Brittany took us about 4 hours last year, which again wasn't too bad. Is manageable with plenty of things to do to occupy the kids. But our transit time now from Roscoff to the campsite is going to be roughly about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's a massive saving. So that extra 40 miles is making a big difference to our journey time in France this year. What to expect to pay for crossings really depends on, again, which crossing you do, how flexible you are, do you want to go overnight and have a cabin. Obviously going overnight and having a cabin probably adds about £50 or £60, but at least you do get the facility to have a shower. The first time we went, Kate and I and Finn, it was a nightmare. We had reclining seats. It felt like it was overcrowded. The boat, it was just, it wasn't great. Had virtually no sleep. Then the 3 or 4 hour drive the other side, got to the campsite absolutely knackered. So subsequent years after that, we always booked a cabin. Now this year we're doing something different. We're actually driving down to Plymouth, staying overnight in a campsite, then getting the 8:30 or 8:20 crossing in the morning over to France, which gets us there for roughly 2-3 o'clock, with a relatively short journey the other side. We should be set up hopefully for tea time. But on to cost. Our ferry in peak season with the caravan is set to cost us 700 quid, which is massively expensive. But peak season, school holidays, unfortunately it's just an expensive time for families. However, there's a number of things you can do to try and reduce the cost. If you're a member of the Caravan and Motorhome Club, they do offer discounts. You book through them and they'll give you a discount, I think circa 10%. We decided to join the Brittany Ferries Club Voyage, which is for frequent travellers of people who have maybe got holiday homes in France. Now that saves 30% off the booking price. In the first year you have to pay two fees. It's an admin fee and it's another fee. It worked out to about 70 quid. So although we're saving 210 quid, i.e. a 30% discount off £700, it's cost us 10%. So our saving is only 20% for this year, which is still better than the 10 off you're probably going to get through the Caravan and Motorhome Club. Subsequent years you only have to pay the admin fee at £35. So it will become obviously better as years go on if you carry on your membership. If you're obviously going more than once a year, then it of course makes sense to do so. I guess now on to what to expect from a French campsite. The site this year, roughly speaking, is about €70 a night. You get hedging on three sides of the pitch. We have electric hookup, we have water and we have waste on our pitch. The beauty of going back to the same site that we went to last year is that we had a good walk round before we left, picked out what we thought was going to be the best pitches, then booked up from there. Now in terms of what is different from UK sites, every site we've been to has always had its own pool. There's a bar on site, a restaurant, there'll be a takeaway place, loads of play areas. To be honest, though the price is obviously much more expensive, we think it's good value for money. Now on to places we've been. We went to the Vendée region the very first year that we were together, Kate and I. We went to a site called Les Amiots, which is near Saint-Jean-de-Mont, which is, as I say, a nice 3-4 hour drive the other side. Lots and lots to do. Now the year after that, we went to a place called Camping Le Forêt. Now the year after that we went down to the Alps. That was because I had this ridiculous idea that I was going to try and do a half Ironman triathlon. In the end I didn't end up doing it, but we booked a summer holiday around it, which obviously didn't go down too well. That is in a place called Bourg d'Oissons, which is near Alpe d'Huez, and actually the triathlon was due to go up Alpe d'Huez. We were there the week after the Tour de France was there, so that's actually something worth considering. If you are looking to go to France in July, it might be worth checking out the route for the Tour de France because everywhere gets horrendously busy. If you've never seen the Tour before, it's definitely worth it. It's a fantastic event, something to experience for sure. So the Alps maybe you wouldn't think would be the perfect place to go for a summer holiday, but actually it was fantastic. We had a great holiday to the Alps. We went with some friends who actually towed a caravan all the way down there. The drive to the Alps is a grueler, so if you've got kids, make sure you've got something to keep them entertained. We actually tried to break that journey up by staying in Dijon overnight. That was probably about a 6-hour drive. On the way back, we drove all the way back home. I had this idea that I wanted to play cricket. We were due to come back on the Friday, stay overnight in Dijon, and then come back on the Saturday, get home, sort of Saturday tea time. But I had this thing in my head, I want to play cricket on Saturday. So we left the campsite at about midday on Friday. Got home about 2 o'clock in the morning, having driven 850 miles back from the Alps. I promptly got a duck, and I don't think I got any wickets when I bowled. So it was a complete waste of time, and I was absolutely knackered. But that's another story for another day, I guess. So that brings us up to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe. If you're into all things outdoorsy, caravanning, like to see site reviews, see trips of us away, subscribe and get notified of when our new uploads are available. If you've got any questions, hit us up in the comments. Drop us an email at makeway.with-the-morleys@outlook.com. You can catch up with us on social media on Twitter at MWWTMS. We'd love to get your input for some future videos. Thanks very much for Jilly for posting the question. Hopefully this has been used to you and to hopefully some other people. And we'll see you next week for our next video. Thanks for watching.